before and after a conversation I had with photographer Busola Dakolo, we had heard so many stories of other people who claimed that they had been assaulted or raped by Biodun Fatoyinbo, who is the founder of the Commonwealth of Zion Assembly. Many of them were afraid to speak up because they claimed that their lives would be at risk, and they're afraid of public scrutiny and interrogation of their recollections of this event and the attacks that may follow. However, some have found the courage to speak up on behalf of many who can't. My guest today is one of them. We will call her X because she will be speaking anonymously about her experiences with Biodun Fatoyinbo. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
I know that this has been a tough process. You know, you say this has been a tough process. Upstairs, just going through this, there's been tears.
Yeah.
Even for all of us, who have been in the room, it's been
I know.
a tough, and we didn't even go through the experience.
Yeah.
But you say in 2017, you were not just a member, but a worker at the
staff, actually.
Staff. So you're an employee of COSA.
Yes.
And you say something happened between you and Biodun.
Yes.
Please tell me.
Oh, okay. So at that time, I was living in one of the cities where the church was located, because they have churches in different places. I'm sure you know that. And it was my boss, so I worked with him sometimes. He was in town and something needed to be done for church, or even personally. Sometimes I had to do personal errands for them. So it wasn't like it was the first time that I was going to be at their house or go do something for them personally. So that day, had asked me to meet him at the house. It was a Thursday. He had asked me to meet him at the house on Thursday morning. And I went there. It was supposed to be, the usual, go there, take instructions, or to either do this for church or go do that for us personally, and then go do whatever needed to be done. I like to say that at this time, I considered him to not just be a mentor, but he was someone who I regarded as a father figure of some sort. So the trust was, it was basically, it didn't seem like any red flags to me. So I had gone there that morning, and I was comfortable because I know that house. That house, it wasn't the first time I was going there. So I was there, seated on the couch, and he had started to address what he wanted to talk to me about. I think he had started by addressing something that has to do with church. I can't particularly remember the details now, forgive me, but things moved pretty quickly from then because it was a long couch, and I was seated on the couch, and then he came and sat on the couch as well. But maybe just a few, there was a little space, so it wasn't like he came on directly and I was alarmed or anything. So and then everything pretty much moved quickly from there, because he started trying to pull me into a hug, and then of course the trying to kiss me, which I found shocking. It was I don't know, maybe one of the most shocking things that I've had to experience, because I've known this man for such a long time. I'd known him not just as a mentor, but as a spiritual leader. I've heard him preach, I've heard him talk about, God, and there I was about to witness what would seem like the complete opposite of everything that I thought that this person stood for. So all I can remember is saying, you can't do that, you have to stop. Like, I remember telling him to stop, like, continuously, while he started going at my, because I had this navy blue high-waist trouser on. I can never forget. So that happened, and he started to take that off, and then I remember trying to fight him off, it was a couch. There was, I don't know, even if there was anything that I could grab, I don't know if I thought to grab anything, to be honest. Maybe I was too shocked, maybe, I don't know. I remember I kept on asking him to stop, and that he just kept going. And then, I mean, he had taken off my button, and then my zipper was down, and then my trouser was down. And then he had one hand, you know, holding me back to the couch, and then another hand, like, right up in my pants. I think at that point, I pretty much just knew what was about to happen. And I don't know, for someone who maybe had to fight off a lot of, I'd had to fight from maybe when I was a teenager. I've had to maybe fight sexual abuse on some level or the other. I mean, that's what women practically do. I just felt like I had put myself in this place. I started to feel like, okay, I'm just going to hope that this person, you know, remembers that they are supposed to be my boss and my spiritual. I mean, because everything I kept saying obviously wasn't working. I kept saying, telling him to stop. I remember he kept saying, relax, just relax, just relax. If you know him, then you know that he's very, I mean, he can be weak. Now when I think about it, I think he's a very weak person. But he also has that appearance of strength. It's like one of the things that he has going for him. So, I mean, I remember him, he didn't flinch, he wasn't moved. He obviously wasn't going to stop or anything. He just kept saying, just relax, like this will soon be over, just relax. And yeah, so, I mean, after that, he just pretty much took off his pants and then, I mean, did what he wanted to. And yeah, as soon as that was over, and he saw that I had already started crying, I mean, I had tears. I wasn't shouting or anything at this point. I was just, I mean, I know that we tell people not to blame themselves, but the first thing that happens is that you blame yourself because, I mean, you brought yourself here. And so I think it was what was going on in my mind at that time. And when it was done, it just said, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. Like, he started to apologize. So he flipped from the sweet, amazing person who was my mentor to the person who I could barely recognize. And then switched back to someone who cared about how I was feeling. It was a lot. I mean, I didn't know what to make of it. I didn't know what to make of it. But I remember that for the first time, I saw a completely different person from who we all knew or who I thought I knew. I think it was the first time that I saw him as someone who just only showed you what he wanted you to see. So with him, what you see is not what you get. Why I say that is because when you meet him, or if you have any form of interactions with him, maybe as someone who works with him or as someone who attends the church, who you see is that charismatic leader type person who is always telling you to, you know, aim and aspire. I mean, go out and do amazing things. It's the one who is always, you know, trying to appear that like someone who not just understands the word, but does the word. But the person I met that day was different. It was a completely different person. And even though he apologized, I think I left that place vowing to myself to never speak about it. I mean, I just felt like, oh, maybe if I don't talk about it, it will go away. Maybe if I never face it, then maybe it will just, you know, magically disappear. Maybe I won't have to deal with it. Maybe I won't have to talk about it. Maybe I won't have to think about it. So, I mean, after that time, of course, he went back to Nigeria because it wasn't in Nigeria. I wasn't in Nigeria at that time. He went back to Nigeria, and everything just went on like normal. I still had to work. So I still had to show up to work every day and act like everything was fine. I still had to, you know, do things for church, despite the fact that I no longer felt like I belonged there. Heck, I already started feeling like I'm not even sure if God is really who we think He is. So, yeah, pretty much.
I'm sorry. So, what we're talking about
Yeah,
is rape.
that's what it is. I didn't go there to have sex with him. I didn't ask to have sex with him. I told him to stop on countless occasions.
Yes, you told me, yes.
Yes, it was not. There was no consent. I didn't give my consent,
Yeah.
and I feel like that has to be clearly
Yeah.
stated.
Yeah.
I didn't give my consent.
Yeah.
I didn't go there to have sex with him. I didn't come onto him. As a matter of fact, I never saw him as anything other than my pastor, a mentor. Yeah, so I didn't go there to have sex with him. I didn't go there to, yeah.
And he pinned you down, you know, as you were saying.
Yeah.
When this was on. And I'm sorry to go through these things, because these are terrible experiences. But it's important for people to, I think, understand how these things happen. So first and foremost, you were in this situation where you couldn't even leave. You were working for him. You were in the house. You were alone,
Yeah.
and you had made it clear. You know, not that it would have mattered, but you had made it clear. Stop.
Yeah.
And you had tried physically to get
Yeah.
him to stop.
Yeah.
But he didn't stop.
No, he didn't.
He just told you to relax.
Yeah, he just kept saying, relax, relax. This was, I mean, I remember him saying, relax, this will soon be over, relax, yeah.
Now let's go back a bit,
Okay.
because by this time you had been a member of the church for about 9 years.
I'd been a member for about, say, 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
2008.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, no, so I became a member of the church in 2009, so that would make it 7 years, I think.
7
Yes.
years, right?
Okay.
And you say that you were just in the music. You were in the music ministry of the church.
Yeah, so I mean, I joined in 2009, and a few months after, I joined I think it was July, and a few months after that, I joined the music team. There was only one music team at the time anyway. It was Avalanche. And
this was in Abuja.
Yeah.
The church was in Abuja, yes.
Yes. This was the only music team at the time, Avalanche, and that's the one I was in. I joined, and I was in Avalanche up until, you know, I had to move out of Nigeria to go do some other work for them someplace else.
Right. And you moved out to Nigeria because they offered you a job.
Yes.
Yes. And you had said that it was his wife who made first contact.
Yes. So
This is Modele, his wife.
yes. So when I joined, I was pretty much a member, just a normal member. And even when I joined the workforce, I wasn't, I didn't have any relationship with them. Because that was my first church, you know. It was the first time that I was bringing myself to try this whole organized religion thing. Prior to that time, I wasn't the church type. By church type, I mean I grew up in like a Christian home and I went to church, but I didn't have, you know, that old church thing. It was the first time I was trying it, and I think I stayed, or I found it interesting because I saw a lot of young people. I saw that they were trying to do it differently, which I later realized was a deliberate thing, you know. I feel like it's really important to say that everything that is done in that place is really deliberate. They're very deliberate, from how they make you see the excellence, the attention to detail. Yeah, maybe not so excellent, but you know what I mean. Yeah, and then the attention to detail. Everything builds you up to create some kind of psyche in you as someone who is visiting either for the first time or as a member. So an average person there thinks in a certain way. Yes. So yeah, I'd been in that church for maybe like almost 5 years, and I didn't have any personal relationship with them. I mean, they knew, they were aware of me because of course I was in the music group. So, and they, at least if there's anybody that pastors know, they know people in music group. Yeah. So But sometime in 2015 was when I started to, get that whole feeling of being brought close, and it was from his wife, Modeli. Yeah, so she would have someone call me to come over to the house to maybe do something for her. She would maybe have some women's program that they wanted to do, and she would say, "Oh, I need you to handle this program. I need you to, and then it moved from that to me helping them take care of their son, the last one, Ephraim. So I would take him out. She would just, have me take him out on Sunday evenings. Sometimes we'll just go to someplace in Abuja, just take him, hang out, and then take him back home. So that's how we started. Now, if you know them, you would also know that they are very controlled about who they allow access to their kids. They actually do not allow people access their kids. So even as a member, you don't have access to their kids. Yeah, so
if you had access to their kids, if they had access to the family, they wanted you to come in.
Yeah, I needed to say that because I needed to let you see how deliberate every single decision or every single thing. So when they bring you close, there's always a reason why. If they bring you in, it's because they brought you in. It's not because it was something that you had to do. Yeah, so I quickly went from that to tutoring the other kids. Yeah. She knew that I was, good with them. She knew that I liked to hang around them. She knew that I was good with them. So yeah, I would go to the house, tutor them, I'll take them out, we'll hang out. And yeah, so pretty much that was how it all started until she made me an offer to go to some other country where they were going to be in school at. So they were schooling, somewhere outside Nigeria.
So at this time, you had been working with them for how long now?
So I had not started working with them.
So we're just helping them.
Yeah.
This seems like a very familiar pattern because I've heard this
before
from all the stories that we've encountered.
Okay.
So you had been helping them domestically for how long?
So they offered to go to travel for the kids. Came in 2016. So I had been involved with them maybe for like an entire year.
An entire year.
Yeah.
And then they made you an offer for a job in another country.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Yes. So yes, and so that I think that's another thing. They bring you close enough to see what your interests are, what the things that matter to you are. I think in my case, the kids were like a motivation to get me to take that job. And I think that she sort of knew because she knew how important they were to me. And it's pretty simple. I think it's the fact that I believed in their vision at that time. I also believed that they were onto something that was, revolutionary. So I was sold out on it, on that vision, which is, whatever it is, I can't remember. Yeah, so caring for their kids felt to me like caring for them. I did it because it was just something that felt like, it felt like something that I was doing for myself. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah. So she made me that offer and said, "Oh, so yeah, we know that you want to do other things." And she knew that I wanted to do other things at the time, and she knew that I could do those other things anywhere outside here. So she said, "Oh, since you wanted to do other things anyway, and you can pretty much do it from there, why don't you just go help us? Be there, since we can't be there and be here at the same time. So why don't you go with them and then help us with them, be there, at least their legal guardian while we're not there." So yeah, that's how. So I took the job, and that's how I moved. Yes.
Something strikes me. You talk about Modele and Biodun as they. It's one unit.
Yeah. So the naive me, like some 4 maybe even 3 years ago, or maybe say 2 years ago, would refer to them as they in this sense, because I would think, oh, maybe she's not in on these things, or maybe she doesn't know, but I think that I have had a lot of personal encounters with them both, enough to know that they kind of are a unit. I don't think that she's unaware. I don't think she's unaware. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to bet money on the fact that she's not unaware. She's, I don't think it's a coincidence that she was the one who pulled me in. Of course, it took me a lot of time to realize that all that time it was grooming. I didn't know that that's what it was. I wish I knew that that's what it was. I mean, I'm not even proud to say that that's what it was, but that's what it was, yeah. But she is the one who made that happen. Because if that came from him, it would probably have raised maybe more red flag earlier on than it would have if it came from her. And I think there's a pattern there. If you ask me, I think there's a pattern there, because I think it's easier for me as a woman to feel more comfortable if you, as another woman, grant me access to your home. Yeah, because I also think that the idea to use, the kids, to use being a part of, like, their person, being having access to their personal space and their kids, was also a deliberate attempt, because nothing says I trust you like you can watch my kids. I mean, if I can watch your kids, then you must really trust me. And what that says also is I trust that you trust me. So I kind of like even give you trust without thinking that you need to earn it. It just naturally happens, because I mean, there's nothing that says, oh, I feel comfortable with you, I feel like I'm safe with you. They, like I said, they do not give anyone access to their kids. They don't give anyone access to their kids. So I think that the subtle, mind game is, sometimes it's subtle, but it's all there, like the delicacy, just making sure that everything that you're surrounded with speaks to you in a way that they probably don't have to verbalize. Yeah.
So. And what's remarkable about this is I did have a conversation with another survivor,
Okay.
Busola Dakolo.
Okay.
And what's striking for me, and this is not even objective, is qualitatively, I do remember, how affectionately she spoke about Shindara,
Yeah.
who is, I think, their first child.
I think they're amazing.
Yes, and and I'm sorry, I apologize to Shindara that because they brought the kids into this story,
Yeah.
So, but then I remember she would speak, even up until that moment, she would speak about these kids with affection.
I'll tell you that one of the hardest things that I have to do at this interview is talk about those kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's bearing in mind what I've had to go through.
So even after what you've had to go through,
Yeah.
you're still thinking about these kids.
Yeah, because I don't think that anyone deserves to have to be introduced to something like this when you didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I'm not surprised that, she would talk about Shindara with such affection. I'm not, they are amazing. Their kids are amazing. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Okay, so the second part of it is, for me, that apart from the kids part of it, it's also the idea that also when Busola spoke with me, Busola mentioned that same pattern of inviting young women in the church to come, and this was in LATIONS, not Abuja.
Yeah.
And this was at the beginning of the church,
Yeah.
to come over to the house
Yeah.
and help with stuff. It's chillingly similar.
Okay.
And Busola wasn't certain, because again, at this time, she was 16 or
Yeah.
17.
Yeah.
If Modele knew or didn't know.
Okay.
But she said, I think she had to have known because she invited me to the house to help.
Yeah.
He came to demand that I come sleep in the other room. And so it's chilling how similar this is.
Yeah.
Based on what you're saying, this must have happened to other girls, other women, women, because Busola was a child at the time, but you were an adult, but it's the same pattern.
Yeah.
Did you know of other people did you hear?
Okay, so the first time that I ever heard anything about him was S.A. Walter. I mean, we all heard it about S.A. Walter. And I remember that morning because I had woken up and I was going to dress up for work and I picked my phone and I saw it. And the first thing that came to my head was, oh my God, what is this? Like, I was just shocked. I was trying to understand what was going on. And I remember that I shut it down maybe 30 minutes after. Like, I tried to understand it and it didn't make any sense to me at the time. I was like, no, that's not possible. No, that's not possible. This just has to be one of those things. I don't know why this person is doing this, but yeah. So that was the first time that happened. And of course, we all were aware of how that situation was handled. Then, at the time when Essay's case came up, I had not started working with them full time. I was just a member who was a worker. So, I mean, I still had my day job and then I would go to church there. But I think that this is a good time to say that an average COSA member adores Biodu Fatoyinbo. That place gives you a false sense of superiority. They pump you up to feel like you're not like everybody else. And even though, of course, you're not like everybody else, but in the sense, not in that sense, but in the sense of, there's a lot of undertones that help you build that form of confidence in this is a tribe. And it is us, it is us, and everybody else is just trying to get us. So even though nobody's trying to tell you that, oh, they're trying to get us, you just start to get that idea from, the things that are said, from the things that are done. Sometimes, in an average service, you probably celebrate Biodu more than you celebrate God. Yeah. There's probably more celebration for him than there is for God, because at every point you're celebrating. Yeah, so it's only a matter of time before you do that, before someone's image rises up in a way that you don't even have to deliberately command it. It just happens. You go there every day, you go there every other day, or like twice a week as a member. But as a worker, you go there almost every day, which is why you find out that people are quick to jump to their defense. People are quick to, say anything. People are quick to fight. They're quick to, just do anything because of how much,
It's an us versus them.
Thank you.
Kind of, yes.
Thank you. That place also isolates you. Like, it shuts you out. It shuts you in. It gives you that feeling like the world, I don't need the world. All I need is these people, this tribe of people. Yeah, so it's really subtle. When you're in it, you don't even know. Yeah. So imagine 3,000 people, or I don't know how many they are right now, but imagine 3,000 people feeding off each other, being friends with each other on social media, because that's what happens. You're all friends. You follow each other on social media. You do business with each other. It's only a matter of time before you start to recycle the same thought process. It's only a matter of time before you all start to think alike. So I think that also helps with the us versus them. Yeah.
This is very scary. Because what you are describing...
It's a cult. Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, I mean, yes. That's exactly what I'm describing.